Good morning, y'all. Welcome to another video on the Luderco Arms channel. So we're up in the shop. Got the Doge in here, 2006 1500, and we're going to put some brake pads on it. I don't necessarily think it needs brake pads right now, but since I just got this truck, I like to start out with everything ready to go, and I have time to do it right now, and I have the parts. So we're going to go ahead and slap them on there. This truck's got 4-wheel disc brakes, so should be quick and easy. Got my new brake pads sitting here. These are Ray Bestos Element 3s. They're not a sponsor. I paid for them. I bought them from Rock Auto just like everybody else can. But those are the part numbers if you need them. You can freeze the video there and get those numbers. So yeah, we're gonna swap those out real quick, front and rear, and that way I know I just got this truck, so that way I know everything on it's fresh and ready to go. So let me get this first of the front wheels jacked up, get the wheel off, and I'll bring you back to do the brakes. So be right back with that. All right, so we've got this front wheel off on the passenger side. Now we've got to get the caliper off in order to change the brake pads. So I filmed doing I did the other side already, and I filmed it, but I'm not entirely certain that the camera caught everything because it's kind of messed up. So I'm going to do this one for the final cut. Both sides are the same. So I've loosened the top on the brake fluid reservoir. That way when we compress the caliper back, it'll have someplace, the fluid will have someplace to go. So once you got your wheel off, you'll be sitting like this. And these brake pads really aren't in that bad a shape. So there's that. Oh, hold on a second. I'm trying to get this camera where you can see everything. So to get the caliper off, you've got a bolt here, and then a bolt down on the bottom on this 2 ears, and those bolt into the sliders which are inside these boots, and those boots are sealed to keep the grease in there so that can slide back and forth. So need a 1/2 inch wrench or a socket depending, and basically we're just going to take this top bolt and the bottom one out, and let's see what happens. Now somebody has over tightened this and it's spinning the slider bolt, so we'll have to get another wrench for that. But God, so the torque on these 2 bolts, yep, that one's the same way. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so what you have to do, if they spin on you, you'll have to find a wrench that fits this, and you may have to do like I did here and grind a wrench down where it will fit in there, and then you can hold that while you undo the bolt from it. It's unfortunate that we had to do that, but somebody over tightened the crap out of these. The torque value on them is 24 foot-pounds, so they're not supposed to be all that tight, but somebody thought that it would be a good idea to torque the crap out of them. Alright, so once you finally get those bolts out, set them to the side. So now this will come off of here. So on these brake pads, you got, see these springs on here? Here and here. And the back pads have them in the same place. And it's a little spring thing that fits on a notch on the end of the, or a protrusion on the end of the pad, and it slides up into a slot on the bracket. And what these do is they put back pressure on these pads so that when you let off of the brake, it kind of helps back the brakes off that hair so that they're not dragging. The problem is, see these rivets right here? So the other pad on this other side has those same rivets, and they're inside of the piston. The piston is hollow on the outside end. So those are sitting inside of that. So when you go to take this off, you've got to get them out of there. So you have to wrestle with it a little bit, which you'll see right now as I get my stuff here to do it. So what I'm doing now is I'm reaching that screwdriver in between there into the slots in the rotor and kind of compressing those pistons a little bit to help get it over that brake pad without such a fight. And then you'll have to get it out some, and then you'll have to fight it over those. There we go. So once you get it out, you can kind of set it up here out of the way, but you don't want to don't leave it hanging by the hose. Set it up there so it's kind of supported. And now you got your old brake pads here. And like I said, and just like on the other side, these aren't bad. I'm just going ahead and doing it. So we're going to pop these out with their clips. Like so. And then so if you look on here, you got the little slots here, top and bottom on both sides, where those fit. And you take your wire brush. Now, you're not trying to make these where you can eat off of them, but you want to get all the crud and rust out of them so that those pads will slide easily. Alright, so let me grab the new pads real quick. So your new pads will come loose in the box like that. And they'll have all these little clips in the box with them. So these clips will go on. This is the pad part that runs on the rotor, and this is your backing plate. And the way these clips are supposed to fit on there is like that, so that this spring puts tension on it when it's in there. So we'll slide these on each end in the proper orientation, like so. And then we'll always make sure that your pad is facing in, not the backing plate. So get this up in its hole, and it slides up in there like that. And you can see right there, see how that spring puts a little pressure, back pressure on that pad? That's so that that pad doesn't drag when your foot's not on the brake. So that one's all set up. Now we'll get the other side ready. Like so. Now these don't fit real tight on there, so you got to be careful not to drop them off of there. And again, you want to put it with, you want to make sure that your friction disc pad is against the rotor. And if you look at YouTube, you'll find no shortage of videos where people have put those in backwards and ruin their rotors. So sometimes these things can be a little hard to get started in the slots up here. Especially if you're trying to lean around and not block your camera. Ah, there we go. That one's, this one is not wanting to cooperate. There we go. Notice I used the plastic. I didn't get a hammer and beat on that thing. Alright, so there we go. Now, what we've got to do is get our caliper pushed back in. So, we'll set it right there. Take one of our old shoes and lay it in there just like that, up against those two. These are your two pistons. And right here you can see what I was talking about with those rivets right there sitting inside the end of those pistons. So we'll set that up against there like that, and then hold on, let's get my other part here. Let me get this all set up. All right. So we can take that, put it up against there. So because this is a double piston caliper, we're using the brake pad to push both pistons back at the same time. If you tried to just push one of them, it will push the other one out, and you don't want to do that. And if you have something that has 4 pistons, 2 on each side, or 6 pistons, you know, whatever, you have to do both sides at the same time. So there's another tool for that, but we don't need that here. We can just do this with our C-clamp and the old brake pad. Now, when you're doing this, you tighten this clamp down, and I usually will tighten it up a little bit and then let it sit for a second, because you're pushing all the fluid back up through the hose, back up into the master cylinder. That's why you have to loosen that master cylinder cap. But you just keep turning and drawing that in, keeping an eye on it, make sure nothing is getting cocked or the boots aren't getting tore up. And you'll know when you've done it right, because you'll bottom out. See, right now this is bottomed out. These are all the way in. They can't go any farther. So now we will take the clamp back off. Toss that. So now you can see both of these pistons are pushed back in, and the boots are stacked up like they're supposed to be. So we're ready to go back on with that. So let me set this down here. Get this up. Get this in place here. See if we got everything in the, yeah. So now we'll take our, now because you were twisting around on that thing, you want to make sure that the hose is not twisted when you go to put this on here. Oh, one other thing, I almost forgot. You want to check your sliders, make sure they slide in and out easy, which these do. And then we're going to have to act like you got 3 hands here to get all of this. There we go. You basically just got to wiggle jiggle it around until it pops in there, and then you can start your 2 caliper bolts. And you can run those up hand tight, but remember, 22 foot-pounds is not a lot of foot-pounds, so don't overdo it. That one, this one is wanting to turn on me. Okay. Grab the torque wrench. Alright, so we're going to torque these to 22 foot-pounds, and you want to watch and make sure that as you're torquing these, you're not spinning. Yeah, so you may have to put your wrench on that to hold it while you torque. There we go. And yeah, the bottom one's not spinning. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 22. It's 24 on the front. It's 22 on the back. So yeah, 24 foot-pounds on the front slider bolts, not 22. All right, so the next step that we got to do is go over here and press the brake pedal a couple of times to push those pads out and get everything seated, and that will also drop the level of brake fluid in that reservoir back down too. So oh yeah, we got a good pedal there. All right, so the front is done. I got to put the wheel back on, and then I will do the same on the back side. So I will bring you back for the back brakes. We'll see you in a few. Well, this video is actually only going to be the front brakes because I ordered the wrong set for the rear. I don't know, must have had a brain fart when I was ordering parts, but I ordered a set for an 8-lug, not a 5-lug truck. So that'll be the end of this video. The rear ones aren't that hard to do, but we'll have to do that another time because I don't have the parts. The brake pads that I got are too long. It's my own fault. I could go back and looked at my history, and yeah, I totally ordered the wrong part. It happens. So the good thing is these aren't worn out. They're not eating into the rotors or anything, so we're still good. They'll make it to the next oil change, and at that time I'll swap them out. At least we got the front ones done. So that'll be it for this video. Now I'm fixing to clean up this shop because it is a mess. There's damn shit laying everywhere. And I got to get it cleaned up so I can get my Cherokee in here tomorrow or the next day and put some ball joints on it again. So that'll be it for this video. Hopefully this helps somebody out. Appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Y'all have a good one.